Truth.
Truth. It's the name of the episode.
Yes. Falcon Winter Soldier. Or as I like to call it, Falcon and Swoon. He's cute, right?
Not as cute as he was in the original movies, though.
Oh yeah, he had his emo thing going.
I feel like he was more powerful as Winter Soldier, too. Like, all these bad guys gone good stories, I feel like they end up weaker once they become good guys.
They get consciences.
That's what I said, they get weaker.
Should I be worried? Anyway. So we had then Sam and Sarah, Carly being angry, Zemo being Zemo, Isaiah, Captain Douchey doing his thing and took the series.
Serum, I think I meant to write.
Serum. Hoskins dies? Question mark?
I don't know, New Rockstar says he got severely injured. And I was like, he seemed pretty dead to me, but
yeah.
okay.
Thug Nico definitely dies. Bloody Shield. Now, awesome Marvel music. Dun, 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 dun.
Da da da, bum bum bum, bum 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 bum. Yeah.
So we open on John Walker running through the rain. Flashbacks on killing Nico.
So this clearly picks up immediately after the last episode.
Yep. Freaking out about Lamar. Like, great intercutting with his memories and seeing him dead and all that.
Yeah.
Nice shot of Walker kneeling on the shield. Time to go to work.
Yeah. He's like, takes a moment and kneels at the shield, and it's like, the sun's coming in, it's like a great shot, and he's like, time to go to work. And it's like, potential for a hero origin story, but that's clearly not what's happening.
Also, side note, just found out that Wyatt Russell, the guy who plays Captain America,
Walker.
Sorry, Walker. Wow, can't believe I just did that. My apologies.
Easy with the names.
I know. My bad. That was a huge misstep. I will flog myself later.
Mm-hmm.
Wyatt Russell, why I didn't see this before, is Kurt Russell's son. Now, MCU geeks will know that Kurt Russell played Ego, Quill's father. So now, I want a backstory wherein Quill finds out that John Walker is his half-brother.
He impregnated a lot of women.
He did.
That would be fun.
But now I cannot unsee Kurt Russell. Like, there were some close-up shots, and I'm like, how did I miss this?
Oh my gosh, Kurt Russell.
Oh my gosh.
So that's awesome.
Those genes are strong. Those Russell genes. Anyway. So Bucky and Sam end up catching up with Walker and confronting him. Walker's all like, I killed him because I had to. They're trying to talk him down. Sam asks for the shield. John says, so that's what this is. Remember, it's always that last line, Sam? Like, I had the same thought.
Yeah, it was like, is now really the time for that, Sam? Like, they may have been getting through to him, but that was not, no. So, I just, had that little callback.
Fight ensues. Bucky gets his ass kicked. Sad. John tries to use shield smash on Sam. It's very effective. John tips Sam's wings off. I am Captain America.
Rips, sorry. Again, there are a lot of typos. Autocorrect was a bitch this time.
Yeah. Sam uses thrusters to rip the shield out of John's hand, breaking his arm, which reminded me of taking Thanos' gauntlet.
Mm-hmm.
It was very
it was definitely intentional.
Yeah. Can't wait to see what New Rockstar says about that. Bucky throws the shield down next to Sam and walks away. Very disgusted looking.
Yeah.
Sam, trying to wipe the blood off the shield, clearly feels guilt for what happened, for not taking it sooner. And then afterwards, they're talking. The government is looking for Carly. And Torres!
Torres, hey!
He says, Captain Douchey. He didn't say that, but Captain Douchey killing a foreign national is a big deal.
So yeah, they're the powers that be are less than pleased with Walker. Shocking.
We saw that one coming a mile away.
My shocked face.
So Torres basically says, like, yeah, jurisdiction belongs to the government now. Like, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
And Sam is... Torres comes out with, sometimes there's nothing to do until there's something to do. Sam says, that's bizarrely wise. Torres is a bizarrely wise guy.
I'm still holding out hope for Torres.
Yeah. Yeah. But he's young and he's a soldier.
Yeah.
So, whatever that means.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure Sam and Bucky can appreciate that and recognize that. Like, they're way past, do what you're told, do your duty kind of a thing. But I'm sure they can recognize that that's where Torres is right now.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have any real reason to think otherwise.
Right. So he starts walking away, and Torres is like, what about the wings? And Sam's like, keep the wings.
Okay.
So jump to Walker, who, not shocked, is stripped of his title.
Yeah, he's at a hearing, and
Yeah.
they're like,
You're
not.
done, you're toast, whatever. Walker tries to argue for the circumstances. It doesn't go well, and he has this freak out at his own hearing.
yeah, he's like pounding the podium, like, you have to understand the circumstances. And they're like, you should be thankful that this isn't a dishonorable discharge.
No, you shouldn't be. You should be thankful this isn't a court-martial.
Court-martial, right.
And then he said, and then the same guy who gave him the shield is the one that says, you will be given an other than honorable discharge. John says, you built me. I am Captain America. They're not wrong. He's not wrong.
He's not wrong there. Like, you can't just create this.
Yeah. Now, they didn't give him the serum, but...
Yeah.
But they
built him up
basically...
and...
Yeah, they gave him reason to take it.
There's a reason you're not canonized as a saint until after you die. And the government basically did the secular version of canonizing him as a saint. Also, pride's a bitch.
Yeah. So Walker is complaining to his high school girlfriend, who actually is his wife.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah. So, they're approached by Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Of all people.
Yeah.
Veep.
One scene.
Yeah.
Val. She's got blue hair. She says she would have done the same thing, but red tape is a bitch. I'm wondering if she's the power broker.
Yeah.
Probably. So she says, answer when I call you, and don't worry about the shield. I'll be in touch. She leaves her card. It's black on one side, white on the other. And that's the last we see of her and Walker for the rest of the episode. Oh, well, yeah.
We'll get there.
Notwithstanding, yeah. So, yeah, I'm wondering if she's... And now, they did a gender swap with Carly's character. In the comics, Carly's character was actually Carl Morgenthau.
Right.
So they feminized that. So and it's, I believe the power broker was also a male character, and so I'm a little, that seems a little heavy-handed to do
two gender swaps.
Two gender swaps, and also they're both villains.
Right, it's like, I can't tell if you're being progressive or like
masochistic.
Misogynist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your woke is folding in on itself. What's happening?
Yeah. So I'm not. So I like the theory that she's power broker, but you've already gender swapped a villain. To do 2 villains seems not only heavy-handed, but also you're essentially caving in on yourself as far as your message goes.
That's what happens.
Well, and so that's why I'm like, I'm not completely sold on my own theory.
Not that the show is lacking for good female characters, assuming Sharon is good. We're still on the fence about that. I like Sarah.
Did I mention my theory about Sharon? That she's undercover?
We touched on it last time, and
okay.
we'll get into it a little bit more, but we haven't really expanded on it too much.
Okay, because I'm really wondering if she's. Well, I think we talked about. I don't know if we talked about it when we did our last recap. We may have talked about it. Just you and I.
Oh, I see.
So that's why I asked. Because I think I do remember bringing it up. I just don't remember if it was...
I think it was in the last video.
Okay. But yeah, so... So back at the GRC compound, Carly and her goons are there. It was shut down. Carly lists off the names of the dead and kind of weirdly blames the government. Says they're just trying to be citizens. That's not what I saw, sweetheart.
Yeah. Like, this is what happens to us, and we're just trying to be GD citizens. It's like, that's not what you're trying to do. That's what the people you think you're fighting for are trying to do, but it's not what you're... And I'm not trying to, like, justify the killing of Nico or anything like that, but... Nah, dude, you're not just trying to be citizens.
Yeah. Well, and... it goes back to that whole super soldier serum thing. That's why Steve was the only one truly worthy. And I mean, Bucky too, to a certain degree, but the circumstances in which he was given it altered him.
Sure. And also, I mean, the OG doctor... that created the serum or applied the serum. I have mixed feelings about whether or not I agree with his point, but his point was ultimately like, Bucky wasn't eligible for the serum because he was
already strong.
He wouldn't have understood not strong people.
Yeah, no, you're right, because Bucky was stronger than Steve, but by far he wasn't like this big strong guy. He just compared to Steve pre-serum, he was bigger.
Yeah.
And Bucky was never power hungry.
No.
He was just eligible.
Yeah. He was a good guy, but he was also, like, attractive and popular and stuff like that. Yeah. So, again, there may not have been that level of humility that Steve had.
Sure. But he was never looking for power.
No, he wasn't.
And that's
part of why
he was a soldier.
That's why he's good now. Because he was a good person.
So Carly's like, it's ready. The time is now. I'm getting Les Miserables flashbacks. The time is here. The time is now. Or, the time is now. The time is here. Yeah, whatever. It's a thing. So now in Sokovia, Which
Yes.
it was a good scene, but it was a little out of place. I felt given just I started looking at my phone during the scene.
There was a lot going on in the episode, and this was like the only scene in this place with these people.
Yeah.
It was kind of like thrown in.
And it was, part of it was used for the trailer. Now, it wasn't a bad scene. It was a little... This is a 61-minute episode.
I kind of wonder if it was added in post. As in, like, once COVID was figured out and they were, like, trying to go back. Again, new rock stars, sorry to keep shouting them out, but they've pointed out a number of scenes that seem to have been kind of tossed in to correct things to allow for the COVID restrictions.
Because apparently there was going to be, like, a virus storyline. And
yeah. And this seems like something that was thrown in to be like, and we're wrapped up with Nemo, and he's done now.
Zemo.
Zemo, sorry.
Not the fish. Nemo.
We have to find Zemo. I confused Nico and Zemo.
Yeah. It wasn't a bad scene, but it was just, it wasn't on pace with the rest of the episode. So...
But it wasn't necessary to explain, like, Zemo not being there anymore.
Right. So we're in Sokovia. Bucky finds Zemo at a memorial. And Zemo says, "Don't worry, I've decided not to kill you." Bucky says, "Imagine my relief." Zemo tries to convince Bucky to kill Carly. Bucky says no. Zemo seems to threaten him. Bucky pulls the gun on Zemo, pulls the trigger, but no bullet. And then he opens his vibranium hand and drops bullets, which was cool.
It was cool. I didn't fully understand the symbolism. Like, that's the sort of thing you do when you pull the bullets out of somebody else's gun, not your own. What the hell?
Yeah. That was kind of weird. But Bucky hands Zemo over to the Wakandans, who what are they called?
I don't remember.
Dijamore or
Sounds correct.
something like that. Zemo tells Bucky, "I crossed my name off your book. I hold no grudges for what you thought you had to do." Which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
And then Zemo willingly walks away with the Wakandans.
And they say something about he'll be tried for whatever.
And Ayo says
Thank you.
it would be wise to avoid Wakanda for
For the time
being, White Wolf.
Because they are not too pleased with him for working with Zemo.
Right, but Ayo...
She understands.
And she's grateful that he helped hand Zemo over.
Yeah. It's not like he's a villain, but it's just like, you're not viewed great right now, sis.
Interesting to note, during this whole Wakanda side story, there was nothing about T'Challa or anything.
Yeah, still. And I presume we've seen the last of the Wakandans for the season. So...
Unless they come back to help with like a final fight or something, but as Ayo is walking away, he says, "Hey, wait." Stops, turns around. "I need one more favor." Meanwhile, Sam goes to see Isaiah. He brings the shield. Asks Eli. Oh, he's out back. This is a very moving scene.
I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about it. But, yeah.
So he brings the shield, and immediately Isaiah's like, I don't want to see it. Sam tells Isaiah that he needs to understand.
That Sam needs to understand. I didn't type it well.
Oh, yeah. Sam tells Isaiah that Sam, needs to understand. Isaiah tells him, every black man understands. If you don't understand, you're blind. Isaiah accuses Sam's hero worship on being...
I know, I typed it super weird. Just say it the way I wrote it, and then I'll explain.
Isaiah accuses Steve's hero worship on being white.
Right. So he basically says that the reason Steve was revered, or at least part of the reason why Steve was revered or allowed to be revered, is because he was white.
Which isn't fair.
No.
And Sam calls him out on that.
He does.
He says, Steve didn't put you in jail. Because when you think about Sam and Steve's first meeting, Steve was very much still like 40s mindset. But he didn't hesitate. He didn't flinch. He extended his hand. He took Sam's suggestions to heart, and no matter what Isaiah thinks about Captain America, at the end of the day, the real Captain America, at the end of the day, Steve Rogers was a good guy. And he would have been, or is, appalled at the treatment that Isaiah suffered.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it would be cheesy beyond cheesy, and I hope they don't do this, but if they do...
Bring old Steve back?
Yeah, like maybe he was on the moon or whatever, with Nick Fury. Old Steve and old Isaiah having a sit down. Again, I don't know that I want it.
I don't want it.
No. But
having the characters have a conversation outside of mainstream media and our current culture would be a great conversation. But a show can't do it without without projecting a message.
Right. And neither side would like it.
Neither side would like it, so I don't want it. If they had a conversation, I think it would be a great conversation. Because there would be a lot of understanding, I think. But this is all hypothetical, so let's...
Yeah. So yeah, Sam counters, Steve didn't put you in jail. So we find out that Isaiah's wife died while he was in prison. They injected Isaiah's team, telling him it was medicine. And we trust the COVID vaccine, you say?
Just saying is all I'm saying.
Anyway, it was super soldier serum. He broke his boys out of the POW camp. The others didn't take to the serum well, but he did, so they experimented on him.
Because his DNA, for some reason, accepted the serum when others didn't. It had a bad effect on the rest of his team.
Because he was worthy of it. At the end of the day.
Interesting. Well, I mean, yeah.
But because he was black, the government, at the time, shut him away and experimented on him for 30 years. But there was a nurse that took pity on him and had him declared legally dead.
So that he could live a normal life.
Yes.
Or what was left of it.
Isaiah tells Sam that he survived because he hides behind a white man's shield. And
Sam survived.
Right,
Sam
right.
Was allowed to be recognized because he hides behind a white man's shield.
And we'll get a little bit more into this, but I respect the fact that the show is pitting the bitter old black mentality against the modern black mentality, insofar as, I mean, you've got Sam over here saying, yeah, Steve was a white man, but he was a good guy. He's not the one that did this to you. That's amazingly progressive, but not in the way you think.
Right. Well, let's go ahead and get into it.
I'm gonna need another drink.
So am I. Yeah.
Might have to pause.
I think we will. Because I think the way they did it was... I'm personally shocked at how well they did it. Because I thought they were just going to be like... Isaiah's going to present his side, and this is truth. And we should all feel ashamed. And that's not what it was. It was... Isaiah had these experiences, and we should listen to him and respect him for it because he went through hell.
And
Absolute
Sam recognizes
hell.
that.
He does. But Sam's over here going, what you did, what happened to you was wrong, but that's not what's happening to everyone, and it's not everyone that's doing it. So we should hear what Isaiah is saying and learn from it, but you can't let his experience identify you. Learn from it, but don't let him tell you who you are either.
Right.
I thought that was actually really fantastic.
It really was, because it goes into that whole, this idea that all black people should get some kind of restitution. But from who?
Right.
The people that it happened to no longer exist. And the people who did it no longer exist. Now, there are clearly prejudices and issues, and it's disgusting and horrifying, and it makes me want to crawl into a hole. But that's not me that's doing it. So
right.
Why do I have to pay for it?
Right, and I do have one more note in there that's going to kind of inform this conversation. I want to get there before we dive into it much further.
Okay. So Isaiah straight up tells Sam they would never let a black man be Captain America. And if they did, no self-respecting black man would ever want to be. And Anthony Mackie's acting in that scene, and it was so subtle and so powerful at the same time. You could see the anguish.
Mm-hmm.
The contradictions running through his brain.
Yeah.
It was some phenomenal acting. But it wasn't really acting either.
No, I mean...
He's a black man. He's got that experience.
He's got the black experience, obviously, and he also has the successful black man experience. He's an actor in a popular movie franchise and a show. Like, he is Sam in a lot of ways.
He is.
And so everything that's being told to his character, he's probably hearing as a person is just going, I have these conflicting things that are happening.
I can't imagine being a minority.
No.
I can't.
No.
I have my opinions, but I have no life experience to even come close to matching it.
Right.
So, and I've come to realize that there are certain things I'll kind of roll my eyes at, but at the same time, that's not right either. You know? We are all God's children. We are all made in the image and likeness of God. Every single one of us. There are extremes on both sides. I'm just trying to find the middle. I'm trying to understand.
I like to think that I am too. So here's the problem. I roll my eyes at lots of white people spouting leftist bullshit. It's private. It's a private channel. I don't care. Leftist bullshit. Should I have to hesitate before rolling my eyes when a minority spouts leftist bullshit? That's what I'm wondering. I mean, I'm trying to be colorblind. And so I judge people on their character and their intellect and their actions.
And the things that they're saying.
The things that they're saying. But then I've got these other things that are telling me I should hesitate before rolling my eyes when they're said by somebody of a different skin color. And I'm not rolling my eyes because they're of a different skin color. I'm rolling my eyes because of what they're saying. And I would roll my eyes if they were said by a white person.
Yeah. But this show is doing a really good job of showing the hypocrisy on both sides.
I think it is. And
it really is.
And I end up rolling my eyes at the things that are saying, oh, Falcon, Winter Soldier are finally being these champions of progressive thought. And I'm like, no, they're actually asking relevant questions.
Yeah, it's not
and they're not giving answers.
I mean, it is progressive.
But in the right way, I think.
And not like right-leaning way,
no,
but in the correct
way.
Yeah, like, newsflash, we struggle with this too. We being the right-leaning.
Right.
Or conservative-leaning, or whatever you want to call it. We're just, the right-leaning, conservative-leaning, we're just not spouting our mouths off and trying to appease someone because it's what they want to hear.
Right. Correct. Sorry.
We're trying to understand and build a dialogue, but no, you're not allowed to do that. No, you can't talk about it. You just gotta get in line with the majority mindset.
Which, from everything I've seen on social media, is like all this progressive stuff is so championed by virtue signaling white people.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know the black experience better than we do, guys.
So, like, these profile picture filters, like hashtag stop Asian hate. Well,
sure, okay.
I don't condone shooting up a particular group of people or any people really, but now it's all about stop Asian hate. Like, how about just stop hate? Why do you gotta classify it?
I posted this many years ago, and it has never held more relevance than it does now. Everybody wants to focus on a particular thing that's hated, or a particular thing that's, the hot topic of the day on social media, the hot movement of the day. And anytime that you try to condone all of the bad at one time, it gets classified as religious fanaticism and discarded. Have religion, guys. Love God. And suddenly all that stuff stops happening. But you can't say that.
No, then you might get a ban like Kristen did. We gotta pause.
Yep. Ooh.
You had a lot more left than you thought you did.
Yes, I did. That was a shot. Okay. Martini shots. We'll be back for part 2.